the world of basketball or even sports alone, there is one name that stands above all others, a name that has become synonymous with greatness and determination. Michael Jordan. Widely regarded as the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan wasn't just any other player that played the game. He redefined it. This video will delve deep into the habits and qualities that propelled Michael Jordan to legendary status and made him an enduring icon in the world of sports and beyond. So going through Michael Jordan's list of accomplishments and awards would be so long that we probably wouldn't even finish this video. As even during my research again into his feats, it reminded me just for another time just how badass he truly was on court. But just to give you a quick snapshot, he was a 6-time NBA champion, voted a 6-time NBA Finals MVP. He was noted as a 5-time NBA Most Valuable Player, 14 times NBA All-Star, 3 times NBA All-Star Game MVP, and of course the list goes on. Not only that, he also has 4 gold medals, 2 gold medals in the Olympic Games men's basketball, 1 gold medal in the Tournament of the Americas for men's basketball, and 1 gold medal in Pan American Games for men's basketball. He's been recognized as the greatest athlete of the past 50 years, been on the front cover of Sports Illustrated a record of 50 times, and plenty of other peers, journalists, and other sport athletes have surveyed him as the greatest North American athlete of the 20th century. So if there are other athletes and peers seeing you as the best, there's no denying that you are arguably the best. As Magic Johnson, another basketball peer, has noted saying, there's Michael Jordan and then there's the rest of us. Then there's Michael Jordan's legacy as a cultural icon. Jordan was so great as a player that Nike produced a line of basketball shoes marketed under his very name, the ever so famous Air Jordans. The explosion of the Air Jordans started since 1985 when Jordan first wore them out on court, breaking policy and rules. Decades later, Air Jordan still persists in pop culture and has even been considered the sneaker of a generation. It's become so crazy that at some resale values of certain models can go over $25,000, and as a whole, the brand has made Michael Jordan over $1 billion. So with all of this exceptional greatness, was Jordan genetically gifted, simply meant to be the greatest athlete we've seen in generations? Although he does stand at 198 with a wingspan of 210 centimeters, ultimately, greatness is not solely determined by physical attributes, nor by his athletic prowess and precision. It's important to note that the habits Jordan implemented into his daily life are what defined his legendary career. So one of the first things that he was noted is that fundamentals matter. Jordan was quite open about his belief in mastering the fundamentals. Basketball, or any other venture for that matter, is all about learning, growing, and refining. And with any technique, whether it be shooting a shot or learning to create content, you need to ensure you're doing the basics right. As Jordan once stated, the minute you get away from fundamentals, the bottom can fall out of your game, your schoolwork, your job, whatever you're doing. When we're learning something, we grow impatient, wondering whether we're moving forward or not. But rushing through the fundamentals just to make an inch of progress will only hinder you in the long run. Whether it's playing piano or learning a new language, it's important to master the fundamentals first to ensure we have a good ground to stand on when things begin to get tough at a later stage. Another quote from Jordan is, "You can practice shooting 8 hours a day, but if your technique is wrong, then all you become is very good at shooting the wrong way. Get the fundamentals down and the level of everything you do will rise." The second point to take note of is just do it. As much as that is a famous slogan from Nike, a brand highly synonymous with Jordan himself, it's a belief that the legendary athlete lived by long before he became the success story he is. MJ knew that he wanted to accomplish extraordinary things, but to do so, he needed to just take that initial step and do it. Getting to that point won't be a smooth rise either. Documented on several interviews, Jordan shared how back in high school, he'd see the list of selected players picked on the basketball team and be devastated at not seeing his name on that list. This could have prevented him from moving forward, thinking he was never good enough, but instead he chose to do it again, despite not being considered tall enough at that age. As he's noted saying, "I can accept failure, everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying." Another third habit that he was is not giving up. Failure is an inevitable part of life. It is an essential part of the human experience, yet we all try to avoid it. It's no surprise because oftentimes failure is associated with feelings of disappointment, despair, and shame. But as much as failure makes us feel terrible, there is an upside to it as well. As with each failure comes growing pains. When we face setbacks, we are forced to confront our weaknesses and vulnerabilities, and with the right amount of self-reflection and self-improvement that comes thereafter, we come out of the dark cave stronger, better, and smarter. Jordan was no stranger to this idea. He knew very well that failure was a part of the game, and knowing this, was aware that this is exactly what shaped him to be the successful person he's become. As he's most widely recognized in saying, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games, 26 times. I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Jordan's belief that failure brought him one step closer to success is exactly why he is arguably one of the greatest of all time in basketball. Failure was learning opportunity, a chance to identify weaknesses and improve his game. And one of the key philosophies he lived by was to never give in to failure, as doing so would only create a succession of bad habits in giving up. Failure, after all, is nothing more than a temporary setback, not a permanent defeat. If you quit once, it becomes a habit. Never quit. Then the next habit on his list was to practice daily. We all know it, we've all heard it, practice makes perfect. What is important with any endeavor is the ability to remain consistent and persistent in the grind. There are always going to be days when we're not feeling motivated to get up, put in the work, and push ourselves. But it's in those moments, the people that do it anyway, regardless of how they feel, that make progress. Michael Jordan was no stranger to this philosophy. His daily routine of waking up early, working out, training, and repeating it all over again non-stop was well known throughout his peers. Whenever he'd perform less than his expectation, he'd go back about grinding all over again. I'm not out there sweating for 3 hours every day just to find out what it feels like to sweat, as he's noted saying. We live in an age where immediate gratification is desired. We want to see results instantly. And it's no surprise as we're all chasing that moment of virality that will hopefully change our lives. But with any great level of success, there are no shortcuts. No matter how physically fit he was or successful he had become, Michael Jordan believed in hard work. It wasn't just his accolades that gained him the respect he deserved, but the relentless work ethic and an inability to turn off that made Jordan the spectacular icon he is today. As MJ once said, be true to the game because the game will be true to you. If you try to shortcut the game, then the game will shortcut you. And then there's sharpening the mind. So there's no doubt that Jordan's physicality and training played a part in his great success. But what is often overlooked are the habits of sharpening his mind to be ready for the pressure, the difficulties, and setbacks. Putting in the work, getting up and training every day, and taking action are all important, but if you don't have the right mindset, it can crumble in an instant. My attitude is that if you push me towards something that you think is a weakness, then I will turn that perceived weakness into a strength. Jordan believed in being positive. One of his most famous mottos is to always turn a negative situation into a positive situation. He knew that without this belief in self and ability to look at everything in a positive light, he wouldn't be able to reach the heights he aimed to get. That lesson rings true in every aspect of life. No matter how difficult things get, it's your ability to frame the situation in a positive way, to believe that you can learn lessons and come out on top. That keeps you going. The positive mindset is one of the most useful tools in being able to deal with challenges. You also need to learn to be humble and adaptable. Despite believing without a doubt that he was the greatest and reaching the heights he had, Jordan knew that humility and adaptability were key to staying successful. Oftentimes, we believe so strongly in ourselves that we fail to recognize the faults and gaps we may have had in our strategies, our thoughts, and approach to life. We don't listen to others and only trust in ourselves. But this is only going to get you so far. I built my talents on the shoulders of someone else's talents. I believe greatness is an evolutionary process that changes and evolves from era to era. To evolve, we need to bow our heads and be willing to learn from others. There's always going to be someone better, stronger, faster, and smarter than you, so be willing to learn. Jordan himself has been compared to that of a sponge by his teammates, always ready to soak up new information to be better. He would ask his teammates to challenge him, rewatch past games to learn from others, and constantly be seeing what he could do to grow. And like anything in life, there is no fixed way of doing things, always. Times change, people change, and as such, we need to learn to adapt. Adaptability is our ability to accept change and adjust accordingly. It is what has kept us as human species surviving and thriving for as long as we have. And especially in this digital age, knowing how to adapt quickly and readily is what will allow us to stand out from the rest and remain on top. In fact, adaptability is so important these days that it has often been rated as one of the top 5 soft skills that employers search for. As Michael Jordan once stated, if you are trying to achieve, there will always be roadblocks. I've had them, everybody has had. Obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through it, or work around it. So we may not be striving to be the best basketball player of all time or a cultural icon much like Michael Jordan, but all of these key lessons are things we need to learn to adopt if we want to go somewhere in life. Focusing on the fundamentals ensures we are prepared for what's to come. Taking that first step prevents you from hesitation and just makes sure that we are getting started. You need to learn not to give up when times get tough, as quitting itself can become a learned habit in our brain that will destroy you. And once we've made the moves, it's important to work hard, relentlessly. There are no shortcuts to success, and the only way to get there is to put in the work. And as much as we do all of that without a sound mind, ready to take the beatings of life, we won't last long. So the key to remaining vigilant and persistent is to be positive and refine our mindset. And of course, in the process of growth, open yourself up to feedback, learn from others around you, and most of all, adapt. So if you've liked this video and want to know other success stories that can help you adopt similar successful mindsets, make sure to check out the playlist on the right and check out another video on the left for Michael Phelps's habits that made him a great Olympian. And like this video to share it to others and subscribe to this channel so I can continue to help you mind the golden mind.